Hey everybody, my name is Marcus Wabschel. I'm an immigration attorney with Veritas Immigration Law, which is an immigration-only law firm located in Southwest Florida. The purpose of this video is I want to give you guys a little bit of an update here. We're in August of 2024, and I want to give a little report to you guys about some changes that I've seen specifically within family immigration, because there have been a number of not only legal changes, but also adjudication trends that I've noticed. Some changes within USCIS specifically. So the first thing I want to talk about are fiance visas. I would say our law firm handles a pretty high volume of fiance visas. And specifically within the last, I would say 6 to 8 months, I have noticed a huge change in how quickly fiance visas are getting processed. So we are seeing approvals come as early as 3 to 4 months now, which used to be how it was years ago. But since COVID happened and there was a lot of backlog, in the most recent years, these have been taking longer. But I've noticed in recent months, these are going a lot faster. And for that reason, I'm making that recommendation to people. If you are in that situation where you're not sure which way to go, I would recommend the fiance visa. If you want a little bit more in-depth explanation about that specific topic, I do have a video that I'm going to link here where we talk about the difference between a fiance visa and a spouse visa and which one is going to be the best option for you. Okay, interviews. For marriage-based adjustment of status cases, I'm seeing marriage interviews starting to come more frequently, okay? So coming out of COVID, a lot of the interviews were getting waived. I was not seeing a lot of marriage-based interviews as long as we were submitting high-quality bona fide of the marriage. We've been following that same pattern, but I have gotten a few marriage-based interview notices. Even for cases where I really wasn't expecting it, we had some really good, solid applications put together with good bona fides, and I'm getting marriage interviews starting to come back again. So I don't know if that's a trend or if it's just a trend like with us, but I am seeing more marriage-based interviews coming up. So if you are in the process of adjusting status to become a permanent resident based on marriage, just be looking out for that. You might end up going to an interview, which really isn't a big deal. But in the most recent, I'd say like 3 years or so, we really haven't seen a lot of interviews. So that is something new that I am seeing. All right, the next one, the parole in place. Many of you probably know that there is a new program that was put out by the Department of Homeland Security and the Biden administration to potentially grant a parole document to undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens. So for those who are going through the I-601A provisional waiver process, those who are undocumented spouses of United States citizens who have been in the United States for at least 10 years, the Department of Homeland Security is extending an option for you to apply for parole in place, which means if you were granted a parole document, they would allow you to adjust your status instead of having to apply for the provisional waiver, which is a huge pain in the butt and it takes forever. And there's a huge backlog. So perhaps this was a way to try to clear the backlog of all the I-601A applications, but it's becoming more of a headache now because what just happened recently is kind of expected, but now there's litigation going on to try to put a halt to this new parole in place program. So there was a federal complaint that was filed in Texas, I believe, and I'm expecting an injunction to get put out, at least a temporary injunction. We'll see. So I'm expecting this process to get halted. I know that a lot of people have put in applications already for their parole document. I know we've put in a couple ourselves here, but we'll see. I don't know where the litigation is going to go, but it's expected. I'm not surprised it's happening. And if you're caught off guard by that, you really shouldn't have been, because it's not a shock. Anytime there's been new, we've had a couple of these new types of parole programs in place, like the I-134As, for the process for Cubans, Nicaraguans, Haitians, and Venezuelans. That process recently went through some litigation, and it's been ongoing, but it hasn't been a super organized process, I would say. And at this point, they are halting the adjudication of or the issuance of new travel documents for people who are going through that I-134A process. So it's not a surprise that this is going through the same, right? It's going to go through litigation. We're probably going to see an injunction where they won't be able to issue parole documents for a temporary amount of time. Assuming that it goes through, it's going to be very, very beneficial for a lot of people and will help clear the provisional waiver backlog significantly. Okay, so I think that's all for now. So just to recap, the fiancé visas are going a lot faster with USCIS. Those I-129F applications are being adjudicated pretty quick. We're seeing more marriage-based adjustment of status interviews. There's litigation going on right now with the Parole in Place program for spouses of US citizens. And there's also been a halting to the issuance of travel documents for people who are applying on Form I-134A for a parole document who are from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, or Venezuela.